Welcome to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast.
Welcome, Ripple Effect families. We're going to be doing a quick podcast here today to kind of in honor of Mother's Day. And first of all, I'd like to start by just wishing all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. I know you spend a lot of time and dedication and commitment to your families and bringing your kids to karate. And we just wanted to kind of wish you guys a happy Mother's Day and thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I one time had my brother ask me what I thought was the biggest factor in somebody getting to black belt or not. And my answer immediately was their parents. So, martial arts and helping your kids get to black belt is, I think, one of the smallest things that moms do. There's a lot that they sacrifice and give. And so we appreciate all of our Ripple Effect moms, but especially the two that are joining us today, my two favorite mamas. So I want to introduce, some of you guys have already listened to a podcast with Master Jan Lappin. You're going to see her in a little bit of a different light today. She's on here instead of as an incredible martial artist and master instructor as my mama. And then we also have the mother of Master Greg Macy, Miss Clara Macy, who is an incredible mom. And when you guys think that we are the reason Ripple Effect is here, these two are absolutely the reason that Ripple Effect is here and that we are who we are today. So thank you guys both for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Well, and I'd like to start off too. We kind of joke around in the karate classes about belt rank and stuff. And today's going to be a little bit less formal because, we all appreciate our mothers and we respect them. But the biggest thing is we say, whether or not you're a 5th degree or your master or something, we always have that question of, well, what's higher than a 10th degree black belt? And I always like to say, well, it's the mother belt. The mother belt is always the highest. And so, I'd like to just start by saying that it was from the respect standpoint, you guys have taught us a lot in different capacities, and we are here to honor and to just appreciate all that you've done for us. And so we have some questions for you. I guess the first one, I want to jump right in and just say that, martial arts is kind of a partnership between the families, the parents, and the instructors. And the instructors and the parents work together in developing these character traits. And in that partnership, sometimes I think, especially for moms, they lean on the instructors to impart some of these lessons. And so I'd like to start with Master Lappin, if you could maybe share some of the things that, as a mother, not as a master instructor, as a mother, what were some of the things that you would lean on the instructors to impart on Rachel?
Well, pretty much everything. They basically reinforce the things that we were trying to teach at home. And sometimes it's actually easier to have an instructor do it than for you to do it. Because I could tell my kids something all day long, and sometimes when a cool instructor tells them the same thing, they listen. It's kind of like they heard it a different way. So really, I think for me, thank God I had all those instructors there because it made a difference. I think my kids, and it wasn't just Rachel, all my kids did karate. And so they were influenced individually by different instructors, depending on what the instructor's strength was, who they tend to, look up to more, and who they a lot of my kids idolized the instructors, and we had some, we still do. We have amazing instructors, and they're such good role models that I think the kids look at them and they say, I want to be like that. I want to have those grades. I want to have kicks like that. I want to, the integrity, the honesty, all those things that the instructors show, and the leadership and the public speaking and all that.
Did you ever have to use I'm going to tell Mr. or Mrs. Instructor?
Yes, I think I've done that a few times. I think I have. It's been a while, but I think I've done that a few times.
I won't ask you for what, but
I want to add to that. I don't know if you remember this, Mom, but when I was learning the 14 attitude requirements, do you remember this? There was one, always listen to and follow the directions of your instructors or seniors. And I remember it was something that we did not practice just in the karate school, but I think the hard part was my sisters were my instructors, my parents were my instructors. So I do remember specifically that attitude requirement being reinforced strongly outside of the karate school too.
You know what? I do remember that. I remember teasing, like, this is Joey's, this is Rachel's. Yeah, whenever we said that one, and then people would remember it.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for Clara. So Master Macy, I don't think I've ever called him Master Macy to you, but Master Macy we've kind of talked about what we were like when we started training and things like that. And he was telling me that when he was a kid, he had a balance problem and he bumped his head a lot. You and I have talked about that. Like a couple times Leo's gone to walk into something and you're like, oh, cringing because you remember Greg as a kid. So he was saying that it was mostly balance, and that he was kind of shy. Can you tell me a little bit about what he was like at that age and why you brought him into karate?
Well, yes, absolutely. It was definitely balance. He would run into the edge of the walls a lot. And one time he cracked his head open so bad that, yeah, I had to put a lot of pressure and take him in the bathtub. And then he was fine. But his dad being in the Navy, when he was younger, of course, was very disciplined. And we talked about, and then having three sisters. Yeah. So definitely that encouraged us to put him in there. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. What do you think was one of the biggest benefits for him as he started training pretty young? I don't remember how old you were, around like 9 or 10 or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think he was 9. What year was that, Greg?
Yeah, I was 8. So
8? Oh, 8. Yeah, that's okay. That makes more sense. Things slip us by, don't they? Many years ago.
So starting at 8 years old, he was pretty young and pretty new. Are there any big traits that he learned at a young age that you saw a big difference in?
I saw the discipline in him right away. He looked up to somebody standing up and, influencing him. That was my biggest take on him. Yeah, he was so disciplined. He'd come home later on in life and go straight to doing his homework. I mean, and then his younger sister would say, Greg, you need to get a life, let's go have some fun and, go play. But no, he was very disciplined, always. He encouraged the girls to become a little more disciplined also.
Good. So spread to the rest of the family.
That and some things. So I have a question for Master Macy. I think this is as kids, we look up to our moms and we there's certain sayings that stick out and there's certain lessons obviously that impart, but I like the sayings things, something like mantras things. Is there any sayings that kind of stick out that your mom imparted on you?
50 push-ups. I'm just kidding. I joke. I so many. There's a lot that we still, as a team, as a lot of you guys know, Master Lappin is semi-retired, so she's not in our staff training, our staff meetings anymore. And there is still a lot of quotes that she used to kind of live by and hold us all accountable and to a really impressive standard and motivate us using. And we still use a lot of those. Some big, and not, ones that she coined, but ones that she really turned into a motivation for all of us. Like if you can believe it and conceive it, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it, is one that our staff will, if I start to say it, they will all finish it because they all still know. What are some other big ones? Oh, inspect what you expect. And that's true for us, as staff and as a team, but very true for us as instructors and as friends and as peers and holding each other accountable. And it really just, I think probably it all boils down to this mentality that I learned from a pretty young age. And it was from watching her more than anything else. It wasn't her telling me to do this or forcing anything upon me or anything like that. But I think just never accepting anything but excellence, and in a very positive way, we can always help somebody else to be a better version of themselves, whether that's mentally, physically, as a martial artist, with their integrity off the floor, whatever it is. Never just accepting that, oh, they are who they are, or it is what it is, but helping everybody to really strive for success in whatever capacity that looks like. And it might just be happiness, you know what I mean? It might be in their business, it might be in their academic life, whatever it is. But I think that we all have a responsibility, whether you're a martial arts instructor or you're an elementary school teacher or your friend, to help the people around you to grow and motivate them and encourage them and excite them to be the best that they can be.
Yeah, you know, and I've actually been able to see your mom in multiple capacities, obviously as a business leader and a master instructor, and or somebody who I actually knew before I met Rachel. A lot of you guys don't know that I knew her mom for
I
years
heard.
prior. Yeah, and so as I was able to watch and see, and you know, one of the things that always kind of rubbed off on me, just you know, as we all learned from each other, is she always had that saying that what you focus on expands. And you know, if I focus on the negative piece, or if I focus on the big positive piece, that's what expands. And so that positive outlook is such an important part of martial arts and what we do, but in life, you know, that's a lesson that you know she imparted. But really, it was the she always believed the best in everybody, and I can still see that in everything, and from the way she parents to the way she you know accepts people. She always believes the best in them. So you know, those are some of the lessons that I got to learn from her. But what kind of questions do you guys have, maybe for each other, or for you know to help other mothers?
Hmm.
I'll let you think on that. I've got one more question that I really wanted to get to is we both in our training, in our martial arts training, we hit a period, and this is very common for a lot of our students, that we hit a period of a motivational hump, or maybe life makes a change for us, or there's something that happens that might make us demotivated from continue on in martial arts. And you know, for me, it was a big move and some family life things that happened, and you know, I lost interest, and I wanted to quit. And I think this question is mainly for my mom, is you know, what would you say to those moms out there that might be experiencing this, that you know their kids might be wanting to quit or something? How could you encourage them, or what could you say to them?
Well, after watching you kind of want to take a break because of the move and everything, we moved from Idaho Springs 30 miles into Denver. And I think I was watching you not be as happy. Like you went through a withdrawal at the time. And I really was worried about it. So I try to encourage you to, you know, give it a second chance to go back to it, not to give up.
Good.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
I think that actually speaks to a lot, though, Clara, what you just said, because I think we know this as instructors. Whenever a student comes to us and they're like, I don't want to do karate anymore. And that happens. You know, we say it all the time. Like I say about 80% of people want to quit at some point between when they start and getting their black belt. There's some of us like freaks that never go through that, and that's fine. But the normal person goes through some lack of motivation. But I think what you guys just referenced is it's typically not about karate itself. There's usually some other reason. And I've had students who come in and they're like, oh, I don't want to do class anymore. And it's because the best friend who was in karate with them just moved away, or it's because of something they have going on at home or at school, or maybe for a really little kid, it might be that the schedule we have lined up is not the best and they're just really tired by the time they get to karate class. So a lot of times there's little fixes. A lot of times the source of that motivation is off of the floor. It has nothing to do with karate itself. And a lot of times continuing to go to class really is the solution to whatever the challenge is outside of the school. Like you were saying, that lack of, you know, wanting to take a break and lack of motivation. There were a lot of other things going on in life. And as kids, we don't recognize that. And we think that this is because this is the thing I'm being told I need to go to, that this is the thing I don't want to do. This is the problem. But really, it's the solution, and having that discipline and that perseverance and all of those things and working through that really will help us overcome those obstacles in other areas of our life too.
Yeah, I recall now, his favorite instructor was at a different karate school and he moved and he really looked up to him. And so I started questioning to where he had gone to, and I was able to find a place where he was and drive extra to go there, and he found him, and I think he got motivated again by that. But he ended up moving shortly after that again. So, but he had gone back to join.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's another like big commitment of a mom that sometimes gets overrated, but do little extra pieces like that. Like it's hard, taking kids to karate is hard. We have 3 kids that we're shuttling and they're all in different belt rate classes. So it's definitely, it can be a big commitment sometimes. And for you, taking the extra, however long it was, maybe it was 15 minutes both ways to every karate class, doing that 2 or 3 times a week. That's a big sacrifice for you as a parent and as a mom, but look at what that did. He wouldn't be here today. None of Ripple Effect would be here today if you hadn't made that sacrifice as a mom. So I'm going to say thank you for doing that. All right. And Master Lappin, do you want to answer that same question?
Yeah, what I was thinking of when you guys were talking is how many parents that I have had that have come back and thanked me for keeping their kids in karate when they wanted to quit, and they had conversations with me, because I don't let anyone quit. I don't give up on anybody if at all possible. And a lot of times, they're bored or it's hard. Karate gets hard when you're testing for black belt and you're brown and you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over. It's hard. But hard is what makes us strong, and that's what empowers the people. And I think it's really, to me, it's 99% the parent that really keeps the child there, because the parent have the long-term vision. They can see they're not like immediately motivated for what, the discipline. Parents have the discipline and they understand the discipline. And if the parent can just get the kid remotivated again, tell them there's not an option, we're not quitting, then I've seen you have too. How many kids have we seen thank their parents when they're getting their black belt? Like, thank you, mom and dad. I mean, I'd say a third of them publicly thank their parents for keeping them in martial arts when they wanted to quit. And if it had been up to the kid, they would have quit. And again, the kids don't have that long-term vision. They have the short-term, what's the most fun for me right now? So.
Very true.
Did I ever have a time that I wanted to quit? Because in my mind, I was like, I don't think I was like,
I don't
course,
remember.
all the way through black belt, through 2nd degree, through 3rd. I don't remember ever even wanting to take a break.
I don't think you ever did. All the other kids did, but I don't think you ever did, which is really pretty amazing. I don't know if Misha ever did either. I mean, she did quit when she went to college and everything, but I don't think she went through that. Joey definitely went through that. It was hard.
I always joke with Miss Walton that we're a couple of the freaks that we just, I don't know, like being tortured or something like that, but never really went through that. I have one last question for both of you guys, and you might not have something, but do either of you guys have any, like, maybe a moment that you specifically remember from either of our training at any point where maybe it really stood out to you because you saw a level of passion for martial arts, or a moment where you were like, really saw something in our leadership, or a moment where you were like, wow, they're going to be an instructor one day, or they're gonna whatever. I don't know. Any moments that come to mind for either of you guys?
For me, several. And I'd say the biggest thing is really looking at you right now and thinking how proud I am of such a young woman and what you're doing and the responsibility you're carrying and the changes that have happened in the studio that are difficult. Change is hard for everybody. It's really hard. And you've had the courage and the strength and the leadership to pull it all together and to make things even stronger. And that's a good sign. When you feel like your kids are like really going above and beyond what you did, you feel like as a parent, you've succeeded. You feel like, wow, that's what it's all about. And I see that in you. I see it in every time you're leading class yesterday. I learned stuff from you, and that's pretty cool when you can go and learn stuff from your child and feel so proud of them that that if I left this earth today, you'd be fine, and the people that you take care of would be fine. So that's.
Well, thank you. That was a lot sweeter than I was expecting.
All our listeners are going to be a little choked up after that one.
Yeah.
For me was when Greg was going to college and he was having to drive to Boulder, and drive to teach. He was putting himself through college. And yeah, very proud moment.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's impressive hearing that. Like, I've heard a little from both of you guys about that, the level of commitment he had to teaching and to going to school and putting himself through that is very impressive. And again, I'm going to go back to, Mom, in response to what you just said, I learned it all from you. I learned everything with who I am as an instructor, as a martial artist, as a mom, as a person from you. And even my ability to learn and to strive to constantly learn new things and to grow as a person in every way. I really did learn from you modeling that, and I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, and
Claire,
on the flip side, one of the things that I learned from my mom, and the sayings, back to those sayings that my favorite one that my mom, and I still use it today. I use it in different capacities, but it's something that can be, if you really dissect it. But she always said, "Go big or stay home." And in life, it's so important to look at it, and you can look at it as that's being extravagant or something like that. But we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and we went through some trials as a family. And she always still was like, you know what, we have everything. Go big. This is everything. And as a when you're impressionable like that, you're like, yeah, go big or stay home. I'm gonna get the biggest truck, or I'm gonna get this, or
And he did.
And he did.
Yeah,
And he did.
you live your life to the fullest, and you really you take every moment and you go, I can't just go small on this. And so it was that idea of everything 150%. If that meant me driving an extra hour every day to go to the karate school to teach, that was my go big. And I think those are the kind of lessons. So thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
I think, we're talking a lot about when we were young and when we started training, but I'm just going to kind of finish this with, it's still very true for today. I obviously she knows this, but for all the listeners, I called my mom earlier today and we had a conversation. She goes, nothing, what did you say? Nothing,
no risk, no reward.
no risk, no reward. Yeah, exactly. And so that level of advice, and Clara, I'm going to call Master Macy out a little bit. He still does every time that we visit with you, every time he has a conversation with you, he reflects on a lot of things that you say. Most of us know Master Macy is very go, 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 and very ambitious and very incredibly driven, and a great role model because of that. But one of the things that recently is reflected on is sometimes you tell him that he needs to rest. And it's important. So I want to just finish this off with thank you guys for your continued guidance and support. And we love you both so much.
Thank
We
you.
love you.
Love you guys.
Happy
Love
Mother's
you.
Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast. Find podcasts and more at rippleeffectmartialarts.com.